So I always try to understand how these platforms get to make money, or what is the point of them paying you. So in my thinking is that they're trying to get you to download these platforms so that you can eventually spend some money on them. But you are trying to make money, so you have to be smarter than them in a sense and see past that, right? So then you download only the new games, play them, and once you realize that they're not giving you any more points, then you just leave them alone. And then the cons is that it requires data. And another thing is that it doesn't pay directly into your bank account, as I've already mentioned, those two payment methods. So all four of them, sorry, will pay into PayPal. Throughout this entire session, what you're going to see is basically this type of matrix for all the methods that we're going to be discussing, right? It will cover things like the platform, right? What type of platform is it? Is it an app or a website, the compatibility in terms of the type of devices. So this is just to basically help you when you are trying to make money online on your own, to know how these platforms work and to save you time in terms of trying to figure out how the platform actually works, right? So instead of maybe trying to look for a website, you'll know that, okay, no, it's only an app. So I won't find it as a website. So I shouldn't even waste my time looking for the website. Although some of the platforms do improve from time to time, and it could be that the time I updated these slides, they were maybe just using an app, but they could develop their website, right? Because they are also companies, they're improving themselves and so forth. But it's just a good framework to have and use when you're trying to make money. So as you can see at the top, okay, this is how much money I've made in total. So in the brackets is how much, a rough estimate of how much I've made doing these type of things. On the site, as I mentioned, you can see, okay, availability, payout, minimum cash out threshold, notifications, earning rate, referral program, which is something that you're going to see me referencing a lot. And the reason why I was able to make that 5,000 is because of the referral programs. So majority of these platforms, they pay you for referring people to use these platforms, right? And on the like, I would say, okay, yes or no, and also how much you get paid or the type of structure that they're using. So for Gamey, for example, I think it's improved. It's changed from 10 cents to 40 cents, right, per person that you refer to the platform, and once they've done certain things. So that is called affiliate marketing, and it's also another way of making money online, right? And then in terms of reliability index, you guys can also see. So this is related to just how reliable the platform is. Maybe its functionalities, like, are you always able to access it? Are you able to always withdraw your money and all those things? So with Moneywell, you can see that reliability index for me, I gave it like a 2.5, which is low out of a 5. So that's because I experienced like weird things as I was using it. Yes, in all, I did get paid for everything, but I still experienced some level of weirdness, which maybe it will be unique to me. Hence, I'm not discounting it and saying, okay, it's a shady platform. And the shady ones, I do take them off these things. But you get to learn of these different platforms. And then I have also the rating my own experience, all in all, and then the efforts versus rewards. So how much effort are you going to be putting in, and the rewards you're getting? So how can I measure it, or how did I measure it, basically? And lastly is the pro tip. So what can you do to maximize your earnings on each and every one of these type of platforms, right? So with Gamey, for example, you will log in daily, spin the wheel, and play the lottery. So with Gamey, as much as you are playing games, you don't get paid for the games, you get paid for the things that look like gambling to some extent. So the spinning the wheel and playing the lottery, that's what actually gets you paid. And you play the lottery through the tickets you earn from playing the games. Okay. So yeah, that's essentially how the games work. Any questions before we move to the second method? Okay, so the second method is surveys, and you guys probably seen me speak about surveys. I spoke about surveys for a very long time. The 5 different platforms is Enlighten Panel being the first one, TGM Panel, Survey Time, Ysense, and Market Agent. With regards to these platforms and this method, most of the time you're required to be at least 16 years of age. They also consider your socioeconomic situation, demographics, as well as consumer behavior. So those are the three things that I say they consider more than anything else. There are no skills that are required. You can earn plus minus 1,500 maximum per month. It could be more if it's a really good platform, but using these platforms, and these platforms still allow people to join, I would say that I don't think you can earn more than 1,500 maximum per month. So the platform where people have earned more than that per month doesn't accept people anymore. But it's also just a way to know that this is a method that you can use, and there can be platforms similar to the one that I spoke about where you can make more money. So you're always on the lookout. So you shouldn't just use these ones. So this is just like your foot at the door, basically, where you're being introduced to this. But once you understand these things, you will also get into the habit of doing more research, finding more platforms, and seeing which ones definitely work for you. Because it's not a disclaimer, but it's definitely a fact where one platform could work really, really well for me, and it would be really, really bad on your side, because we are individuals, and whatever we're doing, whatever we're inputting on these platforms is going to be slightly different. And maybe my profile might be considered more than yours. So that's why this is just a rough estimate of how much you can make, and not necessarily, the gospel. And then the pros of this is that no skill required, also can provide you with an assurance that one can make money online. Some of them have low minimum withdrawal threshold or instant payout. So with survey time, the moment you finish your survey, they will pay you your $1, which is about $18 to your PayPal account. Most of them, there's no verification required. As much as they're going to be asking you a lot of personal questions, they are never going to ask you to verify anything. So if they ask you like how much money you earn, they're never going to ask you for your pay slip. If they ask you where you stay, they're never going to ask you for proof of residence, and so forth. But they're assuming that you're going to be as honest as possible. And yeah, it depends on the person whether they'll be honest or not. And some people jeopardize the system in order to get more and more surveys, right? So yeah, you can decide as an individual as to what works, but I'll just give you what I know definitely works. Okay, with regards to the cons, is sorry about the kids that are playing and they're very loud. I don't know what's going on today. Okay, so with the cons, it can be a slow earner as well. They do screen you in terms of qualifying for every single survey. So they will screen you to check, are you a suitable candidate for every single survey, which wastes time, right? Because that will take a minute to 5 minutes of your time where they're just checking, are you the right person for the survey? And then if you do experience a technical glitch, let's just say you run out of data and you were doing a survey, you can't get back to that survey anymore. So maybe you were 80 to 90% done. So that is the boring part about most of these platforms. It requires data, and most don't pay directly into your bank account. So the only local one is Enlighten Panel, where you get vouchers. In TGM Panel, Survey Time, Ysense, and Market Agent, they all use PayPal or Skrill, which is another platform where you can receive money as well, and Pioneer for Ysense. So how to qualify for more surveys? So this is like the most famous question, or the question I get the most when I obviously discuss the topic of making money from surveys. So the first thing is your profile. So when you sign up for a survey platform, you will be asked to fill in questions related to who you are, what you do, and your consumer behavior, what you have, and so forth. So you need to make sure that you do fill those profile questions to 100% completion rate, and you create a profile that is attractive, right? So a profile that is attractive will be like someone that always that's a decision maker. So let's just say you're not working, you're currently unemployed, and you currently don't make decisions in your household as to what is being bought, why is it being bought, and how much of it is being bought. You can still indicate, if you want to, that you are a decision maker, because the moment you indicate that you are not a decision maker, you will be disqualified, because they want people that are decision makers, because they are looking for consumer behavior, right? They want to know what's informing the reason why you are buying certain things from certain companies and so forth. So, for example, Enlighten Panel usually ask consumers about DSTV related packages, or financial products related to maybe ABSA or FNB. So maybe ABSA hired Enlighten Panel to do consumer related studies, right? So if you say, okay, I'm not a decision maker, meaning you don't decide whether or not you're getting an account from ABSA, they don't have any more business to any more things to discuss with you, and you're automatically disqualified. And also, in terms of employment, a lot of people will think that surveys would require total honesty, but as I said, you will be penalized for certain things. So if you say you're unemployed, or there's some story behind your employment issue or your employment topic, then you might not get as many surveys as well. And even with your salary, if you're earning below a certain salary bracket or salary range, you will get less and less surveys. And it's only maybe once you indicate that you earn in a certain salary bracket that you might get more and more surveys. This does not guarantee that you'll get all surveys. It's just that you'll get most of the surveys that you are eligible for, because as I mentioned before, they look at your socioeconomic situation, they look at your demographics, and they also consider your consumer behavior, right? So it could be that they're looking for people that don't drink, and you said that you drink, and you automatically get disqualified, and you'll never know, right? They might be looking for people that are working and you're not working, or they might be looking for people that are not working and you are working. So it really depends, but it's just that majority of them, since they're consumer related studies, they will look for people that are working versus not working. Then we get into the notification side. So you need to enable notifications as soon as possible. Some of the platforms will ask you, do you want to enable the notifications? And you just have to indicate that. The second thing is that you can be able to enable it after registering. It's not that once that question pops up and you indicate maybe you don't want notifications, that's the last opportunity. Like, there's still multiple opportunity for you to indicate that you want the notifications, because that's how you're going to be able to get more and more surveys, right? Because it's first come, first serve. So if they send out a notification that there's a survey and they want 100 people, and the first 100 answer, and you go and click on that link, they might tell you, unfortunately, the survey is no longer available, because it's no longer available. Those 100 people have already filled that survey, so they've reached their quota of the number of people that they wanted. So as I said, it's first come, first serve. They won't wait for you with these ones, because it's not a skill based thing. It's just people that are in that specific sample that they want. If they are able to get them, then they get them, and that's it. Then some sites will use a separate plugin, especially if you're using a laptop. So i.e. Swagbucks uses Swagbutton, Prolific uses Prolific Assistant. So these are called plugins. So these plugins will give you a notification, or will. The fourth thing is that with some platforms, the different devices might have different surveys, right? So this I know happens with Ysense. The other platforms I haven't noticed whether or not it happens, but with Ysense, I would notice that those surveys that are on a laptop are different from the surveys that are on an app, or on a phone, right? So just check across multiple devices. And what happened in my case with Ysense is that I realized that I would get 75% of the surveys when I use the app versus when I use the laptop. When I use Ysense, then I'd use the app, and then I'd get more surveys versus when I use the laptop. So till this day, I've never been able to qualify for a survey if I use the laptop. But when I use the app, I would get 75%. And then also to qualify for more surveys, or to be able to make money from more surveys, is through diversifying these survey platforms, right? So I'd recommend becoming a part of at least 3 to 5 good platforms. I've already recommended the first 3 to 5. You can also do more research on which other ones are there that you can join and select the platforms. Yeah, I've already mentioned that. Okay. And yeah, I've already mentioned the continuing joining. Okay. And give yourself 1 to 2 months to understand how the platform works, right? So these platforms will vary. They will have similar things, but there will be 1 or 2 minor changes, and those minor changes might make all the difference in terms of qualifying for more surveys. So you still need to understand, like, okay, on Ysense, the app works. On Market Agent, I just need to see if I qualify. On Enlighten Panel, I wait for the email notification because that's the only way that I will know, right? I don't need to maybe go to the website regularly because they don't have a lot of surveys. So it'll take you some time to understand how each and every platform works. So give yourself at least 1 to 2 platforms before giving up, because a lot of people 2 months, sorry, before giving up, because a lot of people will give up the minute that they experience some level of difficulty or adversity, right? So yeah, and some platforms offer more surveys than others, and they also have um, other things than just surveys. So they do have games. Ysense does have offers where you can find games. They also have referral programs and so forth that you can do to earn more and more money. So this is similar to the games as to what I was mentioning earlier on. So what I've added that is different is the screening, as to whether they screen you, and you can see it's yes for all of them. So they do check whether or not you are eligible. Then what else is there that is different? Rejection rate. So I used to also track the rejection rate. So I'll say that for Enlighten Panel, for me it used to be medium, and the one that was high in my experience was Market Agent, right, where I'd get rejected for almost all of the surveys. But as I said, that my experience and your experience are going to be different. And then I've made about 80, I think about 80,000 from these survey platforms. But the reason why it's because of the referral programs, right? So I've made money from each and every platform, yes, but I've also made money from referring other people to use the platform. And that's how I made the most money from the surveys, basically. I think that's it with regards to surveys. Any questions before we move on to the next method?
Nope, we're good.
So the third method is missions, and these are the top 5 platforms that I recommend: InfoGem, Field Agent, Chirp, and Helion Research, as well as Premise, right? So all age groups, in my opinion, can complete, but then some platforms will require an adult to do it. Because you're going to be traveling and you're going to be interacting maybe with strangers, that might add to the level of complexity in this task. So I wouldn't say that it'll be suitable for kids, right? But some smart kids can do it because it's really not difficult. It's just that obviously you don't want to get your kids in some weird situations. So some of them I wouldn't recommend introducing them to them altogether. And it can provide you with assurance. I think it's the same as the other ones. And with this one, there are people that have earned up to 10,000 rand maximum per month. Okay, let me not say maximum because there's a plus minus. So 10,000, more than plus minus 10,000 rand per month, right? So there's a lady who used to use M4Gem, and she earned 10,000 rand consecutively. So month 1, month 2, month 3, where she was earning plus minus 10,000 rand from it. And then the biggest thing about this is that you do have to travel. So the first 2 that I spoke about, you can do it anywhere, whether you're at a bank, you're at your house, you're at a friend's party that where you're bored, or whatever the case might be, right? You can do them. But these ones, or you're at work, which, yeah, obviously you shouldn't, but or maybe it's your break or whatever you're doing. Then this one you have to travel to that location, right? So the pros is the efforts to rewards are very high. And sometimes they've got a low minimum withdrawal threshold, and that's because the efforts to rewards are high, right?